Okay, so thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in. We have a huge audience today. So, there are mixed people today who are attending the session. There are some people who are attending it as a very first session because we are starting a new batch. And there are some people who have already completed their core Java training and now they'll be starting with the Selenium part. So the very first two sessions will be common for a beginner as well as for a person who have completed the core Java part. So for the new people, these two sessions will be like introduction to Selenium and other components. And from the next weekend onwards, like you guys will be moving to the core Java batch. So you'll first be completing core Java and then coming to the Selenium part. And people who have already completed the core Java will be starting with like the automation sessions from the next weekend. So after these two sessions, although in these two sessions as well, we're going to do some configuration part, which is again very important for a beginner as well to understand how Selenium actually works and what exactly is Selenium, what all configuration that is required. So before we get started, so let me introduce myself. I'm Rahul. I'll be the one who will be taking your entire Selenium sessions. I'm having over 14 years of experience in software testing itself. I used to work as a test manager with one of the company in Gurgaon in India. So I have worked on various automation tools, not just Selenium. There are many automation tools like APM, Protractor, Cypress, and like JMeter and even QTB, UFT. So a lot of automation tools I've worked on. I've provided a lot of corporate trainings on Selenium to companies like TSYS, NIT Technologies, then Kronos, then even in like Mumbai, in Bangalore, in New York to a company called as Shutterstock.com, in Seattle to Spoken Communication. So I am pretty much into automation in Selenium from over 8 to 10 years when the very first version of Selenium was launched. So I'm using Selenium since that time. And I've conducted like over 200 batches on Selenium as well. So that is pretty much about me. I hope most of the audience are from testing background, like manual testing, automation testing. There are some, I guess, from development background as well. But the prerequisite to get started with Selenium is not like you need to be very good in manual testing. You should be knowing manual testing concepts first, and then you will be starting with Selenium. So Selenium has no dependency on manual testing. There are many developers as well who move into automation, learn Selenium without knowing anything in manual testing. So we'll be starting everything from scratch. So before we get started, is there any question, anything that you want to discuss? So by default, everyone of you are on mute. In case you want to ask any questions, any queries, you can unmute yourself and directly talk to me. We'll be making this session very interactive. It's not like only I'll be talking for the 2 hours and then you'll only be listening. So if you have any questions, any point of time, you can just unmute yourself and you can ask it. We're going to make it like a classroom session only, although we are doing it online, but you'll feel like that we are doing a classroom session only. So we're going to make it very interactive. So if you have any questions before we get started, you can ask it right now. You can put it in the chat box as well, or you can unmute yourself and then you can directly talk to me.
Hi Rahul, Vishal this side.
Hi Vishal.
Rahul, you conducted a session in on 20th of May. So it was the demo session for us. So that time you told us to install Java 1.8 as of now. So do we need to keep that version or do we need to
just keep 1.8? I'm using same 1.8 since long time. 1.8 is the most stable version, and all your latest components like Jenkins, Maven, all these components is going to support 1.8.
All right.
Rahul, just a quick question. In case those who have missed the Java sessions, will they be getting enrolled in a new batch?
Yeah, this is a new batch only. From next week, the core Java part will be started.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Anyone? I hope most of you are from testing background.
Yes.
That's good. So how many are from the manual testing, completely from manual testing, no knowledge in automation? You can just type yes in the chat box. Okay. That's great. Shashank, you can mute yourself. There's a background. Thank you. Okay. And that's great. I can see a lot of people are from testing background. How about development? Anyone from development? Okay, so I can see major. Okay, Shweta is from development. So we have 90+% audience from testing background. That's great. That's great. Anyone worked on automation?
Yes, Rahul, my team used to work in automation and I need to contribute in that. That's why I get enrolled in this course.
Okay.
Also, initial days, I have requested you one question that if I have any doubt regarding my project, can we continue in this course or after this class anytime?
Absolutely. I mean, even during weekdays, in case you need any assistance from my end, you can post it in the WhatsApp group, or you can even directly ping me on WhatsApp, or we can schedule a call and then you can share your screen remotely. So all these things will be available.
That would be a great help, Rahul. I admire that help. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so that's great. Great to see everyone.
Rahul, I have one question.
Mhm.
In Selenium, we are doing automation, so we can both testing like negative or positive. Yeah, we are doing only positive testing.
We can have negative scenarios and positive scenarios both. We can automate both scenarios.
But in case we can automate negative scenario that the case was failed and how to run all
For
the
every scenario, we'll be having the expected and actual results. So we'll be automating basis on that. So we're gonna do validations basis on that.
ओके तो हमें मतलब पॉजिटिव सिनेरियो पे भी वर्क करना होगा और नेगेटिव पे भी
Exactly.
ओके thank you.
Right, so automation is nothing. It's same like you are automating your manual test cases. So you must have done manually, you must have already tested let's say the website, and you have all the expected and actual data with you. Then you are going to automate those stuff in order to save time, right? And in order to do the regression testing as well. So we can do all level of testing, functional testing, regression testing, BVD testing with Selenium. So
Rahul, just one quick question more. Sorry to ask a lot number of questions. Do we get any demo sites or do we get any demo websites for practice?
We'll be working on all live websites only.
Okay.
And I'll be giving you many practice assignments as well to automate it.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Rahul, so like in our company, there are chances that in future they may even move to Catalan, to Catalan. So do we have any other sessions, like any other batches on Catalan?
Catalan is basically a wrapper over Selenium. Internally, they are using Selenium itself. So right now, I mean, I don't see much demand of Catalan. So that is the reason we have not conducted any live training on it. But I mean, if demand increase, then we can hire a trainer for it and we can conduct that training. Or maybe we can come up with a video library on it.
Okay, thank you. It's much appreciated.
Excuse me, Rahul, sir?
Yep.
Yeah, quick questions. So my company is doing, all the testing based on the model-based system engineering, where we have to construct a lot of diagrams, like a flow diagram, and to construct all the design, the flow. So is there anything that we can automate? Any tools that those diagrams and
I guess Selenium might not be for that, because Selenium automates anything that is on the UI part that is available in HTML as a HTML component. So that Selenium can automate. So there are some complex elements, yes, like Soumya asked, like can we automate? It's height chart. So if the elements are inspectable, then we can automate it. There are some SVG elements in charts. We can handle those elements as well. So it depends on what sort of chart it is. So like if you have any example, I can take a look at it. And if it is automatable, then I'll give you the code for that.
Okay, yeah, they're doing like a C# to .NET platform, and they give me this some kind of analysis to give them idea where they need to move on. So I'll probably coordinate with you next time.
Sure.
What to do. Thanks.
Okay, so
Yeah. So can we expect like in Selenium 4.0 something on the Angular side, because Protractor now being decommissioned and deprecated? So earlier, like I have faced in my project issues, like we need to use extra like handling to actually handle all the Angular applications. So like 4.0, does it come with some extra property to handle that?
The extra property is not there in Angular. The only challenge we face is for the synchronization part. So we need to add some additional weight. Although there are some automation tools specially designed to handle the synchronization part, like initially Protractor was there for Angular, then Cypress is there where you need not to add any additional weight. But in Selenium as well, you can automate it, but just by adding, just by taking care of all the weight strategies. So we'll be automating an Angular application as well. Okay. So we will be handling Angular elements as well. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, one quick question, Rahul. Actually, I have a question, whether while learning Selenium, like actually, do we need to go for Java or Python, Rahul, actually?
See, this you can easily get an answer if you go to any job portal and if you search for, let's say, there's a popular portal in India that is Naukri.com. So if you search over there, you'll find that 70% of openings are in Selenium with Java. Java is a very popular language with Selenium. And the next popular language is Python. So these days, I mean, due to AI, ML, like Python is taking edge, but still maximum openings are in Java. And the best part is, if you know Selenium with Java, within 2 weeks, you should be able to migrate yourself to Python. But if you directly start with Python, then you may gonna have little hard time in understanding Java and migrating onto the Java, because Python is very easy to learn. And in fact, in Java as well, it's not like we'll be learning Java like as per we are doing development. So there is no advanced Java in Selenium. It's only the basic programming part, which remains same in any language. Like basic concepts, you must have studied around your graduation time in C, C++, like basic if, else, loops, arrays, basic oops concepts. These are the things which are required for Selenium. So in Java, there might be a little bit more syntax, more line of code as compared to Python, but logic building remains same, whether you are working on Python or whether you're working on Java.
Yeah, okay, Rahul, thank you.
Sure. Thank you. All right. Any more questions, or like we can get started with the training, and then after the session or during the session, if in case you have more queries, then we can. All right, so let's get started. So just make the session very interactive. Just keep on answering in the chat box. Like I'll be asking you so many questions. So the very first question, let's get started with what exactly is Selenium? Anything and everything that you know about Selenium, just let me know. Just type it in the chat box. It automates browser. Selenium is an API to help automation testing, automation tool for automating web-based application. That's great. All answers are correct. Any more answers? UI automation IDE, web application, it's a framework. Okay. So based on your answers, okay, group of libraries. That's great. It's a framework. It's a suite of tools. Open source. That's great. So the very first thing that it's an open source library. Okay. API, tool, framework. right? So all these things are correct. It's a library, a set of libraries, a API, a tool, a framework, open source for web-based application automation only. Not for desktop application, it's only for web-based applications. You can automate only websites using Selenium. So what type of testing, what type of application generally we test? We test a web-based application, we test a desktop-based, right? Anything apart from this? Like generally we do manual testing, we do manual testing of mobile applications as well. APIs, API as in web services, where we have REST, SOAP. So majorly these days we have REST, ETL, database, mainframe. So all these are database applications, right? So web, desktop, mobile, API, database. Anything else apart from this?
Load stress.
Load stress is like for the performance part. So that is like we have a functional testing and non-functional testing. But even if we talk about load stress, we test it on these applications only, right? We test it on web application. We do load testing on database application, desktop, right? Microservices, APIs, web services are similar.
Selenium is used for mobile web application. It's not for mobile native application.
Yes, it's only for web application, not even for mobile web at this moment. So for mobile web part is given to APM now.
Okay. APM is also a part of Selenium.
It's a wrapper over Selenium.
And for iOS application, what we do?
Again, APM.
APM. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So these are the major areas. We generally perform manual testing, functional testing, non-functional testing, load testing, stress testing, right? On all these applications. These are the major applications, right? We automate these applications. For web-based, if we talk about Selenium, Selenium comes only here. Selenium is only for web-based application testing. Whereas if we talk about desktop, any tool that you heard about desktop?
QKP, UFT.
Auto IT, I guess.
Auto IT is a very small tool, so it cannot handle the entire desktop. So we have UFT, a good tool like UFT is there, test partner is there, UiPath is there, RFT is there. Most popular one is UFT. And nowadays UiPath is also catching.
So you're talking in terms of RPAs, and you have automation anywhere.
Yes, that the RPA, I mean, can handle a lot of other things as well, desktop applications as well.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, UiPath is specific to RPA. Anything that you have heard about mobile?
APM.
APM.
APM, one of the most popular tools. How about API? Web services?
Rest assured.
Rest assured. Rest assured is there.
Karate.
SOAP UI.
UI is there, right? Database, we have various database vendors available, SQL, MySQL, Oracle, right?
MongoDB.
Right? So all these are for database. But Selenium is only for web-based testing. Then why Selenium is like a prerequisite these days if you are entering into automation? Why it is very popular? So every next opening that you see, even if you are applying as a manual tester, Selenium is like a prerequisite these days. So what is the reason behind that?
Every application is made as a wrapper over Selenium, like APM or.
So generally, when we start with Selenium, Selenium helps us building up our base in automation. And if we know Selenium, we can work on these areas as well easily. We can integrate other tools. Most of the tools are wrapper over Selenium, means they are originated from Selenium itself. And even if they are not originated, if you know Selenium automation, you can easily work on other automation tools as well. The best part of Selenium is it's open source. Open source means no license required to work on Selenium. It's completely free of cost, right? Anyone know how many components are there in Selenium? 3, 4. So what are those? Great. WebDriver ID.
RC,
RC.
Selenium
WebDriver.
3.0 WebDriver.
Great. Okay. So these are the 4 major components. Out of which companies are using which version these days? Industry is using what?
Great.
Great. Only great?
WebDriver.
WebDriver. So majorly WebDriver is being used. For automation, WebDriver is being used. Grid can also be integrated, but with along with WebDriver only. Right? IDE, what is IDE? Anyone know what is IDE?
Record and play.
It's a record and play component. Never used in the industry. It's only for just you want to test like how Selenium works. You can do a little record and play and you can generate a script from this tool. So it's something like this. If I
Has it
go
been
to,
deprecated yet?
no, IDE is not deprecated. I mean, IDE is something like this, Selenium IDE. This is your Selenium IDE. So what you can do, you can click on, let's say, record a new test, give any project name. Let's say I'm going to give it as Google project. And then I'm going to click on OK. And I'll specify the website, http://google.com, and click on start recording. You can see a browser launches, Google navigates, type Selenium over here, click, search, click on any particular link over here. And whatever actions that we have done, all the actions are being recorded over here. See, this is a record and play. In case you want to play them back, just stop the recording, give any test name over here. Let's say I'm going to give it as Google test. Click on OK. And then you want to play them back. So this is run all test, run current test. So if you click on this, see all the actions that we have done are repeated. So some of that you may gonna face any challenge, or otherwise, see, right now everything is successfully executed. So if we face any challenge, we do editing in that ID, or generally what people do, see, all these are checked, all these are green. So these are successfully executed. Now, what generally people do is, let's say, let me pause it. Right click over here, click on export. You can see you are getting multiple language options available over here. So if I select Java, I'll click on export and just save this file. And if you open it, you're gonna get auto-generated code over here. So generally people copy this code, move it to the editor and try doing some changes over here, and then they execute it from that particular editor. But this code is not at all complex that we need to use a record and play tool in order to like auto-generate this code. This is a very simple code. Yeah.
Will this be helpful if we won't get any XPath of any particular element? Then we can just do it and copy element from here.
There are many other tools more powerful than IDE available, which will help you in auto-generating the complex XPaths. So I'm going to show you those tools, right? You'll never be using Selenium IDE. No one is using IDE at all. This code is very, very simple. Just that once we get started, we're going to come to know how we need to write this. Once you come to know, you'll never going to use IDE. And the other thing is IDE. Yeah.
Can you repeat the navigation, please?
Navigation, as in from the IDE?
Yeah.
So what I did, let me show you the steps again. So we just like this is added as a plugin. I'll show you how to add this as well. Even if you search in Google Chrome plugins, you'll be able to get Selenium IDE easily, or you can download it from the website as well. We're going to talk about the installation part later on, but the tool looks like this. So here you click on record a new test. So let's say I'm going to give it a name as new project. Click on OK. Give the URL that you want to navigate. Google.com. Click on recording. And then you can start recording your test. Whatever action that you're doing are being recorded. Right? You can see even here at the bottom right, it is showing Selenium IDE is recording. So whatever action that you perform, see, it's recorded. And now if you want to close the test, go over here, see all these actions. stop it, and save it. Give it some name. New test case.
Hi, Rahul.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know how this, testing helps in future point of view. For example, when we are working on WebDriver, we have created a script and we have, again and again for working on regression point of view, we just have to hit a button and then it starts executing, right? But when it comes to this IDE, record and play, does it, what are the future point of view from this? I mean, again and again we have to record, or once we have record, again and again we have to click on the same button.
We are not going to do any recording part, right? Record and play don't work in Selenium. So what works is we need to automate our test. For that, we need to write a little code. And that code is written only once. So if we talk about regression, why automation is important? Let's say you generally face scenarios like there is a login window and you have 100 users. You want to test all those 100 users are successfully able to log in, all the logins are working fine or not. If in case you test it manually, then manually every time you need to open a website, you need to enter username, password, click on login button and check whether that user is able to log in. And you need to repeat these steps 100 times. Maybe it is going to take 1 hour, 2 hours, or maybe entire day for you to test just 100 logins. And if you automate that step, it will going to take at least not more than 10 to 15 minutes of effort in automating that step. And once you execute it, within few minutes, it is going to test all the 100 users. So this is one of the advantage of automation. No. And same way, there are n number of advantages.
No, I've got this one. I'm sorry for this. But what I wanted to know is what is the advantage of record and play?
That's what I'm saying. Record and play, no advantage.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
We are not going to use record. This is just a plugin available. If we talk about a component like UFT, QTP, they have invested majorly in the record and play part. Right there, you use a lot of record and play, but here in Selenium, you'll never need record and play. This is because in case you are using Selenium IDE, then there are a lot other components that we integrate with Selenium. You cannot integrate that with IDE. Components like, we're going to talk about that, Jenkins, Maven, TestNG, and number of components are there, which can only be integrated with a coding part, not with record and play. So with record and play, you can automate a limited part of the website. If your website is quite huge, you cannot be dependent on this Selenium IDE record and play functionality. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So
is IDE plugin available for all the browsers?
For Firefox as well as for Chrome. 2 major browsers, it is available. Right? So this can, initially when Selenium was started, this plugin was only for Firefox. Now, in the recent version, they have created it for Chrome as well as a plugin. And if you talk about Selenium, what is the current version of Selenium? Can anyone tell me?
4.0.
4.0. Selenium 4.0. So it means prior to this, there was Selenium 1.0 as well, Selenium 2.0 as well, and Selenium 3.0 as well. So what is the difference in all these versions? So initially when Selenium started, it started with this version. Can anyone tell me which company came up with Selenium?
ThoughtWorks.
ThoughtWorks, exactly. So Selenium, ThoughtWorks started this. The very first version of Selenium. In the year 2004, there was a developer named Jason Huggins. He's the initial developer who started this project. Now, in order to automate his daily routine task, he has created a small project. That project went up to such an extent that they thought of giving it some name. And they came up with a name called as Selenium. Now, why only Selenium? Anyone know who is the biggest competitor of Selenium in the industry?
Mercury. Mercury. XP was earlier, like it was called as Mercury. So the automation
XP, QTP, right? XP initially it was Mercury.
Mercury.
So the major tool that was used for automation that point of time was QTP. right? So if we talk about automation, then the only tool comes in our mind that point of time was QTP. There were so many openings in QTP, like even in till 2010, 2012, 2015, QTP was very popular. But slowly, Selenium has taken an edge over. And now you'll hardly find openings in QTP UFT. And everywhere in automation, in UI automation, you'll find Selenium is at the first position. Now there are other automation tools as well in the market. Cypress is there, Playwright is there, right, with some additional functionality. But still the market of Selenium is very powerful, right? Everywhere, not only in India, not only US, UK, everywhere you will see Selenium openings like anything in automation, right? And there is a reason behind it as well, not just open source. We know that QTP, UFT, the license cost is quite expensive. If we're gonna go for one user license, is somewhere around 2000 USD. And like if we go for like multiple concurrent license for 50 users, it is going to cost a huge amount for a company. Whereas same functionality Selenium provides absolutely free of cost. Just that QTP UFT can automate desktop as well as web-based application, but Selenium can only automate web-based applications. And if we talk about the current time, it's a time of cloud computing. Everything is on web, right? So Selenium can automate anything and everything available over the web. So this is one of the best reasons to use Selenium. Like Selenium can automate any website easily. So instead of paying a license, a heavy license cost, why not use Selenium? And the other thing is a lot of components can be integrated with Selenium, because the very first thing about Selenium is it is not a tool. Selenium is not a tool. Tool like you cannot install Selenium. You cannot see Selenium. Like in case of QTP, UFT, you get a setup file, an installer file, you double click on it, it gets installed on your machine, it provides your platform for recording, record and play, scripting. It's nothing like that with Selenium. You're not gonna see Selenium, you cannot install Selenium. It's basically a library. It's framework, or you can call it as an API. Selenium is basically an API. Now, what exactly is an API? We're going to talk about that thing as well, but which is the main website of Selenium? Can anyone tell me the website of Selenium?
SeleniumHQ.org.
That was the old
Selenium.
Selenium.dev.
Selenium.dev, yeah. So there's a new website of Selenium, that is selenium.dev. And over here, you can see Selenium automates browsers. That's it. So Selenium is only for web-based testing. And if you go down, you'll see that these are the official versions of Selenium. In the latest version, we only have WebDriver, IDE as a plugin, and then we have Grid. So IDE is available for Chrome, Firefox, and Edge. So these three browsers it is available. But WebDriver can be used on multiple browsers, all major browsers you can use it, right? So can anyone tell me what, can tell me some features about Selenium?
It can be integrated with multiple third-party.
Okay, so integrations with third-party.
Multiple browser and multiple OS.
Multi-browser support. So all major browsers like Chrome, Firefox, IE, Safari, Edge, Opera, all major browsers are supported. Multi-OS usage, OS as in multi-platform. So platform like Windows, Linux, Mac, Solaris, iOS, Android, all major operating system, you can run your code of Selenium automation easily, right? Anything else apart from this?
Multiple languages.
Yeah, multiple language. So what all languages that are supported with Selenium?
Java, Python, Ruby.
Java, Python, Ruby.
C#.
Right, then JavaScript, PHP, all major languages in the world are supported by Selenium. But the language support doesn't mean that if my website is built up in, let's say, .NET, then I'm learning C# with Selenium. And if it is built up in Java, then I'm learning Java with Selenium. right? It is Selenium is not language dependent. Website can be built up in any language. Selenium is not going to interact with the language of the website. It is only going to interact with the HTML elements, right? So even if you know Selenium with Java, you can automate any website built up in any language, right? So that's what multi-language support is. All right. So anything else that you have heard about Selenium? What all things that can be integrated with Selenium? Parallel execution. Yep.
Cloud support, like we can execute on AWS.
Your voice is little breaking.
Jenkins.
Cloud support, cloud, Jenkins, cloud.
Jenkins, okay. Jenkins.
Extend.
Cloud execution can be integrated, like we can integrate AWS, we can integrate Azure. What else?
Annotations.
Annotations is in a framework that is called as TestNG. Cucumber. Maven.
Gradle.
Maven, Gradle are same.
Reporting.
So we have report. We have Allure reports. We have extend reports.
GitHub.
Like TestNG, we have JUnit.
GitHub, yes.
Karate is for not for UI automation. Karate is for API testing. POI. Okay, POI for Excel reading. BDD is Cucumber. Eclipse is IDE. Okay. What else you've heard like in relation with Selenium?
GitHub.
GitHub.
Jira integration.
Jira integration can also be done. You can integrate Jira as well.
Some test management tool integration like Zephyr.
Yeah, a lot of these are different APIs available that you can integrate with Selenium. But even if we talk about these components, these has nothing to do with Selenium. These components are not created by Selenium, right? So still you can integrate that these things with Selenium. Anything that is feasible in Java can be integrated with Selenium. This is because Selenium has got no boundaries. Selenium is not a tool. If we talk about a tool like QTP, UFT is a tool. So every tool has got some boundaries. Means, let's say there are 200 features implemented in QTP. So you can automate your project using those 200 features only. If there is any additional scenario you need to automate, and if a feature is not there in UFT, then you go to HP, you ask for add-ons. They sell their add-ons as well to support that feature. But again, add-ons are developed by developers. At times the add-ons are there, at times the add-ons are not there. So if the add-on is not there to automate that functionality, then you're restricted. You cannot automate that. And you say that not 100% things can be automated, right? But this is not the case with Selenium. Even if the functionality is not there in the Selenium library, if it is available through Java, you can integrate that thing with Selenium, right? Like when we, let's say we are automating a login window. So in a login window, we need to enter a username and a password. And maybe I need to enter 100 username and password. So where are we going to maintain those 100 username and password? So where we maintain them? In Excel. Correct. So what I want my Selenium to read the user credentials from Excel and provide it to my website, to the login window. So Selenium task is not for reading and writing of Excel, because Excel is like a desktop component, right? Excel is not a UI. Selenium can only automate UI. But you can integrate something which is called as POI, Apache, which is provided by Apache. Apache is a third party. So you can integrate this. This is another API. This is another API. You can integrate POI API and you can do Excel reading and writing. So there is something called as log4j that will be integrating. What log4j is, this is generally to generate logs. So let's say we are automating a website. We have automated somewhere around 400 to 500 test cases. And if I'm executing those, it is going to take at least 4 to 5 hours to complete the test execution. So for that 4 to 5 hours, I'm not going to sit in front of my laptop and I'll be watching each and everything, whether Selenium has clicked on this link, whether Selenium has entered the username or password. So if I'm sitting in front of my laptop and watching it for 4 hours, then what is the need for automation? I can do that thing manually as well, right? So if the 4-hour execution is done, and I want to see if everything is successfully executed and Selenium has hit all the available elements on the web page. So I need to track all these things, and we'll be tracking all these things with the help of generating logs for every action. Logs using the current timestamp, like at this date, this minute, this second, Selenium has entered username. And this minute, this second, it has entered password. So for all the actions, if there are 500 actions, all 500 actions, the logs will be maintained in a log file. So I can just go through the logs and I can see, okay, the entire execution is successfully done. And if there is anything which failed, you're going to see the exception, the error as well added in that log file. So that log file is not generated by Selenium. That log file is again done using log4j, which is again a third-party project you are integrating with Selenium. So anything that is feasible in Java, you can achieve that thing using Selenium. So this is because Selenium has no boundaries. Selenium is not a tool, right? So what exactly Selenium is, we generally call it as an API. Now, what is an API? We'll be discussing about it. What exactly is an API? Can we get some alert while executing our script? Yeah, we can, right? Alerts can be generated using some functionality called as JavaScript executor. So we can do that thing as well. We can generate alert, we can stop the execution, we can provide the input in that alert and then continue the execution. So that can also be done. So what is an API? Can anyone tell me what is an API? Application Programming Interface. That's a full form. So what is inside Application Programming Interface? So what do we have inside it?
So
Messenger, features, methods.
So API, so two application can talk to each other with the service.
Two programs can interact with each other, right? Like I'm saying, POI is an API, Selenium is an API. Both can interact with each other, right? So what is inside the API?
It can be like collection of classes and methods.
Collection of classes and methods. It's basically a complete project. So let's take an example. So most of you have already seen this example if you have attended previous demo session, but it will be like a revision. So let's say I am working as a Java developer, and as a developer, I need to create a calculator. So a calc I need to design. Now in a calc, we have various operations available. I can add something, I can subtract something, I can divide something, I can multiply something, and a lot of features are there. So as a Java developer, if I have to design a calculator, what I'll be doing, I'll be creating a class with the name as calculator. So I hope everyone must have heard what a class is. I'm not saying that practically you have designed or not, but somewhere, even in your graduation, when you must have studied about C, C++, you must have seen what a class is. At least you must have heard about it, right? So see, in today's session, it's not important that you should be knowing coding, because there are many people joining as afresh without any programming knowledge. So once we start with the sessions from next weekend, we're directly going to start from the programming part, from ABC of core Java. So you don't worry about the programming part. But in order to make you understand what exactly is Selenium and how we're going to work on Selenium, I'll be writing a little bit code today. So if you are not comfortable with the code, just try to understand the concept. Just try to understand it as a concept only, right? Don't worry about the code that I'm writing. Just try to understand as much as you can get from this. So if you're not familiar with the coding, don't worry about it. Just see what level of coding that is required to work on Selenium. And then you will be starting from scratch from next weekend, right? So I hope everyone have studied basic programming in their graduation. Is there anyone who has never ever studied any programming language?
Me.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
Sir, is this a Selenium class or is it an API class?
It's a Selenium class.
Okay, so Java is, I think it is completed.
Java. So there are some people who have already completed Java and now starting with the Selenium session. And there are some people who are joining as a new. So these two sessions are common for both the people.
Okay. So the Selenium session will start from next week.
From the next week. If you have already taken these two demo sessions earlier, so you can do a quick revision, or you can directly start from next weekend.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so I can see there are a couple of people who have never done any programming, never studied any. I'm not saying that you have worked on programming. I'm just talking about that you have studied programming or not. So a little bit will gonna work for today's session. Right? And don't worry if you have not gone through the programming part, then like before you get started with the core Java concepts next week. So I'm gonna share you this library. So there is one very effective core Java course over here. This one. If you try to go through this course as well, your core Java concepts will be very strong after going through this course. There's a detailed 23 days of just core Java training. Right? So I'm going to share you this link. Maybe I'll just going to copy this and paste it over here. So during the coming week, you can try going through a couple of these videos to build a little bit basic concepts around the core Java. And core Java is very simple. You're going to enjoy it once you start following this step by step and doing it on your own. It will going to build up your interest for the programming part. Right? And the same when you start using it with Selenium, you'll feel it very interesting, because normally if you talk about the programming part, programming is a little bit boring. So even if you have studied around your graduation and if you have never implemented it, you must have forgot all the concepts. But now if you integrate it with Selenium and then use it, you'll never going to forget the programming part. It will help you in building up your base for automation. Right? So you're going to see that writing 2-3 lines of code, a browser launches and everything is getting automated. Then that is what is going to help you in building up your interest in the programming part. So you're never going to be afraid of programming. Like that is the reason we chose our career as a tester, because we are little afraid of programming. But these days, just manual testing, if you are just in manual testing, then it is little bit difficult to survive in the industry, because the competition has grown so much. So many automation tools are there in the industry these days, and Selenium is again like a prerequisite. So we cannot run away from it, right? So don't worry about programming part. If you're a little afraid of programming, don't worry about it. Once we get started with the core Java part, these things will be very much clear to you. Could we get new core Java class who missed? Yes, you can start with there are people who have recently joined, will be starting with a fresh Java batch from next weekend. So don't worry about it, right? So the other thing, we are going to record all live sessions. So once we are done with today's session as well, you'll be getting recording. We'll be uploading all the recordings from the current batch on this particular link. So if you go over here, and here you need to scroll a little down, because I've been adding these sessions from long time. So maybe 2015 as well. You'll find a batch from 2015, 2019. So I generally add it at the end over here. over here, you're going to find this is the current batch, which is done with core Java. And now they'll be starting with Selenium. And then whosoever joining the new batch will be adding a batch August 2022 over here. And all the sessions will be added over here. Okay, I'm going to paste this URL and give it over here. Right? So all the sessions are being recorded. Okay, so let us come back over here. So I was talking about, let's say, as a developer, as a Java developer, I need to design a calculator, and I've created a class named as calculator. So what is inside a class? What we generally keep inside a class? Can anyone tell me? What do we have inside a class?
Data and methods.
Okay, data members, methods,
Data
code,
types, objects,
functions, correct?
functions.
Functions and methods.
Object, variable, method, and functions.
Correct. Constructor as well. Correct. Right. So if we like, if I say function or if I say method, both are same thing. In generally C, C++, we call these things as functions. In Java, we call them as methods. Methods as in, if we talk about add, I need to implement addition functionality. So I'll go inside this class and I'm going to create a function or a method called as add. And in this, I'm going to write some code, which is going to add some numbers, right? Same way, if I need to design subtract, I'll create a method with the name as subtract, and I'm going to write some code over here. If you call this, it is going to subtract some numbers. Same way, divide, same way, multiply, and so on. Let's say I've designed the complete project. I've created all this functionality. Now I want to test it. I want to test whether addition is working fine or not. So in order to do that, I need to call this addition method from this class. So how to call a method from a class? What is the basic syntax for that?
Need object.
Creating object.
Using the object.
That's correct. That's great. So what is the syntax? What should I write?
Class name.
Class name.
Object name equal to new class.
Object name equal to new
class constructor.
Class constructor, like this, right? This is a syntax through which we create an object of a class. And how to call a method?
Object dot method.
Object dot method, like this, right? If I run this much code, what is written inside addition will be executed. And same way, if I want to call subtract, I can again say obj dot subtract, obj dot multiply, obj dot divide. And if I run this, all the functionalities that I've created will be executed. But in order to call these methods, first thing we need to do is create an object of this class. And this statement actually creates the object of a class. So what is an object inside this statement?
New.
Is new an object?
Yes, new is an
reference,
object. OBJ is
reference
a
variable.
reference of that object.
New is a keyword.
Reference
New is a
variable.
keyword. OBJ is a reference.
OBJ.
Or OBJ is the object.
OBJ
is the object.
OBJ
Is a
is the
reference.
object.
variable of class data type.
New calculator is an
That is
object.
reference of a class is stored inside the object.
Okay. OBJ is a reference. See, some people are saying OBJ is an object. Some people are saying new is an object. Some are saying new calculator is an object. What is this? What is this?
Class.
Class? Anything else that we say?
Type data.
It's data type.
Data type? Type? or
Reference.
data type? Okay. And what is this OBJ?
Reference.
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 It's the,
Object reference.
Reference.
it's a reference of the class.
Yeah, it's the reference
Okay.
variable.
What is this equal to?
Assignment.
Assignment operator.
Assignment of
Assignment operator. Okay. And what is this new?
Keyword.
This is a keyword.
Keyword. And what is this calculator?
Constructor.
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 Constructor. And where is the object? So where is the object?
That new keyword will create the object.
New
This will create
calculator
an object.
together object.
Right? This will create an object and then we'll assign that object to this reference. So we're going to see this thing practically. Don't worry about it. right? All these things will be covered in the core Java session from beginning. So don't worry about what is an object, what is a class, what is a type. All these things will be covered from scratch, right? But in order to make you understand what Selenium is, we need to at least write this much level of code, right? So just try to digest it as it is for today. So now I'm writing all this code in Notepad. Previously, people used to do Java coding in Notepad itself, but time has changed. Many editors are available in the market with artificial intelligence. So some editors are paid, some are open source. So if you use these editors, if you make any mistake while writing code, they're going to give you a lot of suggestions. Even if there are 100 methods, 100 functions inside a class, you need not to learn all the functions. You simply put a dot, it will give you a list of all the functions and you can directly choose the function from there. So many editors are there, like IntelliJ is there, NetBeans is there, WebStorm is there, Eclipse is there. Eclipse is the most popular editor, very widely used in the industry, completely open source, no license required to work on Eclipse. But there is a prerequisite to get started with Eclipse and to get started with Selenium is that you need to have Java installed on your machine. So Java as in the JDK part, Java Development Kit. So the latest one is, I guess, Java 17, but we should not be using Java 17 because a lot of components are not compatible with Java 17. So anything that is 1.8 or above is supported by Selenium, and 1.8 is still the most stable version, that is Java 8. So I would recommend, even you can use Java 11 and Java 13 as well, but I personally use 1.8 and I'm using it from the long time. So I have never faced any challenges in any integration with Selenium. So this is the most recommended version. And how you're going to download it? So you just need to go to Google and type download JDK 1.8. So go to this particular link. Now Java is by Oracle. Initially it was Sun. And if you see, Java is available for different OS, for Linux, for Mac, for Solaris, for Windows. If you are having Windows 32-bit, you'll be downloading this. 64-bit, you'll be downloading this. So this is just an exe file. You just need to click on it, accept this, and click on download. It may ask you, for the first time, it will ask you to create your account over here. I've already created the account, so I'll be giving my username and password over here and click on sign in. And then it is going to download that particular exe file for me. So it's taking a little time. Some issue with the website, I guess. Anyways, like as soon as it signs in, it is going to download that exe file. So that is just the additional step you need to do is create an Oracle account of yours, just a free account, provide your user credentials, and you should be able to download this exe file. So once you download it, I've already downloaded it. It comes like this. JDK. Okay, I have removed the installer. So you're generally going to get the installer like this. Installing Java is very simple. Just double click on it, next, and Java gets installed on your machine. During the installation, it is going to generate some folder inside your C drive program files, and you're going to see a folder of Java over here. This is Java. If we open it, you're going to see two things. One is JDK. The other one is JRE. JDK stands for Java Development Kit and JRE is Java Runtime Environment. So what is JDK? What is JRE? You need not to worry about it right now. We'll be covering these things in the core Java part. If you have already installed Java, if it is asking for the update, I would recommend don't update it. Otherwise, it is going to update it to the latest version, right? And if you have already installed Java, if it is the later version, so just go to control panel, click on uninstall a program. And over here, you will be seeing, see, I have Java 8 only. So you can just click on it and uninstall it if it is 16, 17 version. It will not like hamper any running program. So just uninstall it, and install the latest Java. You're going to see these two folders. Now, if I open this, Java is inside this bin folder. So this is where you'll see Java. Now, most of the applications need access of Java in order to, like if we talk about Jenkins, Maven, a lot of tools, they need the Java. If the Java is not there, they're not going to run. Even Eclipse will not open up if Java is not there on your machine. So we need to tell all these components where Java is. So instead of telling it with this path, what we do is we configure Java globally in our machine. So globally, as in there is something called as setting up of environment variables. So if you go to your start, there is a shortcut, type edit over here. And you see edit the system environment variables. There is a different step for Mac. In Mac, we need to create some Z profile. So how to do it in Mac, I'll let you know about that thing as well. Even there is a recording, you can go through that in case you want to set up it on Mac, then I'll let you know the steps. Why we need to set the global variables? This is because all the programs that we are going to integrate now with Selenium need the access of Java, need to know where the Java is on your machine. Java is currently at this location. So we are setting it up globally so that any program that may need access of Java can get it from that location. So how to set up globally? For that, we need to click on this environment variables. And there are two variables you see, user variable and system variable. In user variable, you're not going to do anything. In system variable, you need to click on new and create a variable name. So variable name as in Java underscore home. And here you need to paste, you need to copy the path of JDK folder, the root folder, and paste it over here. And click on OK. So once you do this, you'll see a variable created, which is holding the address of your JDK, right? So if you go down, you'll see a path variable. This is your global system variable. If you click on edit, you'll see a lot of things are already configured over here. So maybe when you have installed your Windows, so Windows system 32-bit settings, your Windows path, and even you install other applications by default, like Node is there, Git is there. So they generally add these automatically inside your path variable at the time of installation. But now what you need to do, the path that we have created, Java home, we need to click on new without editing or deleting any existing configuration. These are very crucial configuration. If you by mistake edit this or delete this, it may gonna hamper your existing running program, may gonna corrupt your Windows as well. So just be very careful. At the end, type %Java underscore home %. The variable that we have created, the path of JDK folder will gonna come over here. When you write this thing, it will call the Java, this JDK folder path. And where is Java inside JDK? It is inside bin. So what you need to do, just give a backslash and say bin. That's it. So this is what I have already done it here. So I'm not going to redo it. So once you are done with this, click on OK, and your Java environment variable is set up globally. Now you go to command prompt and type Java -version. Should be able to see the current version of Java on your machine. What is the minimum computer laptop requirement? See, Selenium does not require any high-end laptop or high-end configuration. Anything that supports Java, even a 4 GB RAM should work. Windows 10 or above should be there. You should not be using Windows 7, right? So at least 4 GB RAM should be there, right? You can use i5, i7. So that depends on your choice. But yeah, I would recommend at least having 8 GB system so that you should not face any slowness while running Selenium and integrating with other components. So at least 8 GB RAM must be there, right? Otherwise 4 GB is also supported. Okay, so after installing Java, we'll be downloading Eclipse. So just go over here and say download Eclipse. Go to this link. And you can download it from here as well, but this gives you a setup file. There are so many components in Eclipse. I don't recommend you to download from here. Go to download packages. So now you can see so many components. Eclipse is just an editor. It supports C, C++ as well. You can write C, C++ code as well in Eclipse. You can write Java code. You can write Python code, PHP code, Ruby code. N number of components are supported. N number of languages are supported by Selenium. We need Eclipse for a very basic core Java programming. And the one that we'll be installing, downloading is not the latest one, because latest one might need Java 11 or above. If you're using JDK 1.8, go over here and download this component, Eclipse 2021-06. Even 2021-12 will also work. So this is most stable version. And from here, you will be choosing this Eclipse, sorry, Eclipse IDE for Java and web developer. This is the one that you should be using. Download it based on your Windows, Mac, Linux. You just need to click on it and download it. See, you're gonna get this. This is somewhere around 516 MB file, and this comes in a zip file. Once you download this zip, it is going to look like this. I've already downloaded it. So you unzip it, you get Eclipse like this, a folder like this. Open this, you'll see Eclipse folder, open it, nothing installable over here. You just see this application, double click on it, and it will launch your Eclipse. If Java is not installed, you're gonna get error over here itself, right? So first prerequisite is install Java, configure environment variable, and then download Eclipse. And once you have downloaded Eclipse and double clicked on this application, you're gonna see this screen, Eclipse IDE launcher. It is saying select a directory as a workspace. So basically we'll be writing some code in Eclipse. We need to maintain that code on some location on our machine. And next time, if I want to access that project, I'll be giving the path of that project. That is called as workspace. So we need to create a workspace where we can maintain project, we can maintain the code. Anything that we are doing in a project will be stored at that particular location. So I'll generally give this as a batch name. I'm going to name this batch as batch August 2022 and click on launch. So see, Eclipse is starting. So let it start. Very first is a welcome screen. Just close it. And this is what your Eclipse looks like. This is a project explorer. Here you'll be creating projects. You'll be adding classes, interfaces, a lot of things. Here you'll be writing the code. And here you're going to see the output of that code. You don't need these screens, so you can just close them as well. So this is the main area of Eclipse, your workspace where you'll be working. So very first, we'll be creating a new project. Simply click on create a project and select Java project. We'll be creating a simple Java project. Click on next and give any project name. So I'm going to give the project name as, I'm creating a calculator, right? So I'm going to say Calci project. Make sure if you have Java 8, then select Java 1.8 from here, not Java 16. By default, it may show you Java 16, right? So I've not installed Java 16. So Java SE 1.8. So this is what you need to select. And leave other settings as it is. Click on finish. Click on open. And you can see a Calci project created. If you expand it, you will see something called as JRE system library and one SRC folder that is called as source folder. Any code, any class you'll be creating will gonna go inside this SRC folder. If I expand JRE, these are some internal Java classes which are mapped to your project. So what are these? Don't worry about it right now. we are going to create a calculator first. For that, we need to create a class. So if you see over here, we have created a class called as calculator. So I'm going to create the same class. How? Right click, say new, and click on class. And give the class name. This is a template. It will ask you to give a class name. I'm giving the class name as calculator, starting with capital C. Class name always starts with a capital letter. I can start it with a small letter as well. It will not going to give me any error, and a class will be created with small letter. But there are some coding standards that we need to follow. For that, the class name always starts with a capital C. So whosoever is working in programming in Java, they follow the same coding practices. Class name will always start with a capital letter. And then check this and click on finish. Public static void main. What is this? Let us see. Click on finish. You will see a sample code over here. Let me increase the font size. Okay, Vishal is asking, why don't we use IDE for Java developer? You can use any IDE that support basic Java, right? So generally this one has got so many integrations like Maven plugin and other plugins inbuilt in it, right? So we need not to manually install it. It may happen that if you're using a basic IDE for Java developer, it may not have those add-ins plugins by default available. But yes, IDE for Java developers can be used as well. Right? Okay, so now you can see we have this thing, and here some of the things are in reddish color. Some of the things are in black color. All these reddish color things are predefined keywords. Like we have public, private, protected. What are these things called as? Public, private, protected.
Access modifier.
Access modifiers. Some people say access specifiers, some people say access modifiers, so both are same, right? Then we have class as in the class name. Then we have static, non-static. Then we have return type, void, int, string. So what are these things? Don't worry about it right now. For everything, there is one detailed lecture in core Java. What are access modifiers? What are static, non-static members? What is the return type? How to create a function? How to create a method? This thing is a method. This thing is a class. Method is always inside a class. We cannot keep it outside the class. We can create more methods as well, but all the things is going to come inside this class body itself. This is the body of the class, and this is the body of the method. This is a by default method in Java. Anything you need to execute in Java should be inside this main method body. Execute as in the very first thing of any programming is to print anything, right? Like, let's say if I talk about how to print in C, how we print in C?
Printf.
Printf, correct. How about C++?
C out scene.
C out scene. And how about Java? System out println, right? So the very first program of any programming language is to print hello world, right? So this is the run button. If I click on run, you're gonna see hello world is printed. But we are not here to print hello world. We have started working as a developer, and we need to design a calculator in order to understand what is an API, right? So for that, in a calculator, there are various functionality available: addition, division, subtraction, multiplication, and I need to design all this functionality in a form of a method. So let us design the very first method, which is called as add. Now, what is public void? Don't worry about it, but this is how we create a method. Public void add, right? Inside this, now method name always starts with a small letter. You can create it in a capital letter as well. You'll not see any error, but as a coding standard, the method name should be in a small letter. There is something which is called as camel casing. Camel casing says that, let's say, if you have a word letter, something like a 3-letter word that is like the dark night. Now, if I read it as it is not very readable. But if I want to create it as a class name, I'll start it with a capital letter. And any joining word will be in caps. Now it is more readable. See, the dark night. And if I have to design this as a method name, then it will start with a small letter. And any joining word will be in capital. So same concept is followed by every Java developer. Even if you see Selenium project, you'll see same functions are created. Like you'll come to know whether it is a class or whether it is a method just by looking at this name. So if it is starting with capital, it should be a class. If it is starting with small letter, it must be a method. And same we are going to follow. So if you see over here, like method name by default, Java has created in small letters, right? This main method, it starts from a small letter. And this thing, you can see it is starting in a capital letter. So what is this? What is this string? Can anyone tell me what is string in Java?
Class.
It's a class, right? It's a class, it's a data type, but string is actually a class in Java. See, if I do a mouse over, you can see the string class. So class name always starts from a capital letter. Even Java is following the same standards. Okay, so now I'm going to write some code in this addition method, which is going to add some numbers. But as we are new to programming, so I'm just going to print something. I'll say adding some numbers. So when you call this addition method, it is not going to add the number, it is going to print only, adding some numbers. Same way, I'm going to create some more methods over here. After addition, I'll create subtraction and I'll say subtracting some numbers. Then I'll say division, then I'm gonna write division, dividing some numbers. Then multiplication, and I'm gonna write multiplying some numbers. And let's say I've completed the calculator project. I want to test how this addition is working or not. So what I need to do, I need to call this addition method from this class. So how to call it? We have just seen it. How are we gonna call it? By creating an object like this, right? So I'm just going to copy this as it is. I'm going to paste it over here and remove the unnecessary spaces. So this is the correct syntax. There are no errors. Errors in the sense, if instead of calculator, I'll change it to calculators. Now see Eclipse is highlighting it with red color. If you do a mouse over, Eclipse will give you suggestion. And see what it is saying. Calculators cannot be resolved to a type. See, this thing is called as a type. You remember, Notepad, we have written this thing as a type. So this is your type. And now Eclipse is giving you suggestion. Create a class calculators. But why should we create calculators? We have calculator as a class. So change to calculator. Click on this and it will change it to calculator. Now this thing is just a variable. A variable can have any name, obj, abc. I can keep any name over here. We generally give it a meaningful name and I'm going to call it as calc. Then we have equal to. New is a reserve keyword. See, it is highlighted with red color, like these things are highlighted. So this is a keyword. And then we have this calculator. So what is this? We're going to talk about this as well. But this is how we create an object of a class. Now, if I say calc dot, it will show me list of all the methods inside this class. So one of the method is addition that we have created. Division, we have subtract, multiply. So I can call these methods one by one. Save this, click on run button, and you're gonna see adding some number called. Same way, I'll go over here and say calc subtract, calc divide, calc multiply, and run this. The complete functionality will be executed. Now there is one more method which is having a same name as of the class name. What we call it as.
Constructor.
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 Correct. So what are constructors?
Constructors are
Do not have any return
Their
type.
values are initialized.
Yeah, which do not have any
No
return type.
return type. Used to initialize values. Okay. Anything else?
It is a special method whose name is same as class method.
Correct.
Class name, sorry.
Yeah.
Not return any value.
No return types. We have not added any void or any other return type. And this is having a same name as of the class name, used to initialize variable. First method to be executed. That's correct. So this is called automatically. When it is called? When that first method is executed?
When an object is created.
Yeah, whenever
we create an object of the class. So let's say I'm calling this as a method, right? I can write some code over here as well. So I'm writing a code called as calling constructor. Now let us call this, like I've called calci add, calci multiply. Now I'll call this as calci.calculator, but I'm not getting this in the list. Why? Because this is not a method, right? Then how to call this? How we call this? How we call this constructor? I'm not able to call it here.
Called when object is created.
It gets automatically called when object is created.
Automatically called. Even if I don't write this, we are creating object in this line, right? Just save this, run this. The very first thing that is called is constructor, right? Now we were discussing what is an object in this statement. Some people say calci, some people say new, some people say new calculator. So let's assume calci is an object. I'm removing this. This is still a valid statement. There are no errors over here. So if this is an object, if I run this, then constructor will be called, because constructor is called as soon as an object is created. So if I run this, whether the constructor will be called or not?
No.
No? Or yes?
No.
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 No. Correct. So see, if I run it, nothing happens.
Calci is object reference, any data type reference having a data type of calculator.
Yeah, it's just a variable. It is not holding any value right now, right? So now let us do one thing. Let us remove this part. Now tell me, if I run this, whether the constructor will be called or not.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So if I run this, see, constructor is called. So this thing is creating an object, right? So if this is an object, why we need calci? Why we need
reference.
To store the value, to store the reference of the values.
What is the requirement for that? Why do we
because
want
when we create an object, we want to call the methods and the variables in that class. So we need that as a object reference.
So it means if I want to call addition method, I need to have calci, calci.add, calci.divide. Without calci, can we call addition method?
Yes.
No, for local methods and local variables, no.
We cannot call addition method, right? We need to have calci.
No, we can call, but it can be called only once. Like only one method we can call. We cannot call all the methods again and again.
Absolutely. So how we call it? By this way. New calculator.add. If I run this, see, addition is called. Now, if I want to call division, I again need to say new calculator.divide, new calculator.subtract.
Now we can say that is it to avoid writing it, writing that this lengthy name.
To avoid, not lengthy, to avoid creation of multiple objects. See, constructor, how many times it is called? 4 times, because 4 objects are created. With every object, we are calling a method, right? So if we are having 100 methods, so we will be creating 100 objects in a memory. That will be very expensive. So we want that only one object to be created, and all the methods will be accessed from the same object reference. So what we did, wherever the object is created in the memory, we are storing the address of that object in some variable. And a variable name could be anything. It could be ABC. It could be XYZ. It could be a meaningful name, calci. And we are assigning this with the help of this assignment operator. So we are assigning the object address to this variable. Now, every variable must have some type in Java. In case you use Python, you don't need to define the type. But in case of Java, for everything, you need to tell what type of value it is holding, what type of value this variable is holding. Like, let's say if I'm storing a value 100 in a variable value equal to 100, what will be its type? Int. It will always be. If I want to store my name over here, can I store it inside int?
No.
This will be a different type, right? So what it will be?
String.
String. So again, what is string in Java?
Class.
It's a
Class.
right? So it's a data type as well. It's a class as well. And if this is a class, this is a variable. And if I do value dot, I should be able to access all the methods from this class. See, all these methods belongs to string class, right? Same way, when we are storing this value, this cannot be stored inside int. We cannot store it inside string. It has to be of the same class type, that is calculator.
Rahul, one question related to constructor. Like, why is it so necessary to create constructor in the parent class itself if we can do the same thing using methods itself?
I mean, parent class itself, like you can create it in a child class as well. You can create it in a parent class as well. Why it is required in a parent class? So that the common functionality can be implemented in the parent class only and not in further child classes.
Okay, got that.
Right. So now if I say calci dot add, just 1 minute, calci dot divide, calci dot multiply, calci dot subtract, and if I run this, you're gonna see only and only one object is called, created, and all the methods are referred from the same object reference. So this is like a very basic concept, although we'll be studying about this in Java session, so don't worry about it. For the people who are very new to programming, don't worry about it. Try digesting it as it is for the time being. So we'll come to know how Selenium works and what level of Java that is required for Selenium. We don't need any advanced Java. We are not developing anything. We are going to access a library which is already developed. And in order to access that library, we need this much basic level of understanding of a programming. Right. So let's say complete calculator project is designed and tested. Now I want to publish this project in the market so that everyone can take the benefit of this project. Like, in addition, I may have written 500 lines of code. So anyone who wants to add some number, I don't want that he should again put that effort of creating this addition method, whereas I have already created it. He can access my library. And I don't want to charge anything. So I want to launch it as an open source project. Open source does not only mean that it is free of cost. It is free of cost, but open source also means that anyone can contribute into the development part of this project as well. Now, let's say some person from any other country comes in and he wants to contribute into the development of my project. So he wants to add more functionality like calculating percentage, square root, and number of other things. Then he is most welcome. He can add it in this project as well. Or if anyone from any country wants to add, subtract, use the functionality, can access this project free of cost without any charge, without any rewriting of addition or subtraction method. So how are we going to share this project? What I'm going to do, I'm going to right click over here, say export, and select Java and select the jar file. I'll be exporting this project in a form of a jar file, which is called as Java archive. And I'm going to give this project name as calculator version 1.0.jar. And I'll be saving this on, let's say, my desktop. I'm going to click on finish. So if I go to the desktop, you're going to see calculator. I was stored it on, yeah, it is created over here. See, This is the jar file that is generated. Now it's not like if I double click on it, it is going to install calculator on my machine. It is not going to do any installation. With this jar file, you're only going to come to know what all classes are there, what all functions, methods are there inside this project. Even if the developer has not given you access to the functionality, to the code, you'll not be able to see what code is written inside addition method, but you can still call addition method with the help of this jar file. Normally in open source project, people give away the code as well. So you can look at the code, you want to add some more functionality, you can do that thing as well. Or you can access the functionality which is already there in this jar file. Now, I want that everyone from around the world can access this jar file. So what I'll do, I'll upload this jar file to my website, because website can be accessed from any part of the world. So next time, anyone who wants to do addition division, go to my website, download this jar file and access the functionality, right? So after doing this project, I left this organization. I'm going to close this project and I joined a new company. Let's say I joined American Express. Sorry. So again, as a Java developer, I joined. So let's say I joined in their project, which is already there. I joined in between of their project. They already have some banking domain implemented, and that was also a Java project, let's assume. So let's say there was American Express project. I'll just going to create an MX project, click on finish. And they were having some classes. One of the class was, let's say, a banking class already there. And let's add a main method as well over here. And there was some functionality already there. Let's say there was a functionality for calculating profit. And there was some functionality for calculating loss. These functionalities were already there. I was hired in between of the project, and they asked me to implement a functionality that could add salaries for n number of employees. So something related to, I need to develop a addition method in this project as well. Now, if we talk about the functionality of this addition method, this is somewhat similar to what I've designed in my previous organization in the calculator project. Now, there are two things I can do. One, start writing the complete code from scratch. But that was like 500 lines of code. I can do it, but it is going to take me some days to finish it. The other thing is, instead of rewriting it, the functionality is already there in an open source project. Why not call that functionality from there in this project? So in order to call that functionality, what I did, I've gone to their website, I downloaded the jar file, and then I right click over here, gone to build path, clicked on add external archives, and I selected this jar file and added it as a reference library in my project. You can see calculator jar is added. If you expand this jar, you're going to see calculator class. If you expand this, you're going to see addition, division, multiplication, subtraction, everything I am able to see inside this project. But I'm not able to see what code is written inside addition. That's fine. I don't want to look at the code. I'm able to access the functionality. Now what I'll do, I can call addition method over here. But how to call a method? How we call a method from a calculator class? Same process, creating an object of calculator class. Calculator, calc equal to new calculator. And see, I'm able to create the object. I'm not getting any error. My banking project is able to understand what this calculator is with the help of this jar file. If the jar file is not there, if I say build path, remove, then banking is not able to understand what calculator is. If you mouse over, it will ask you to create a class calculator. But why to create it when it is already there in some third-party project? So you need to add that project library over here, the jar file over here. Then it will be able to understand it. And now you can simply go inside addition and say calc.add. So you have implemented the entire functionality without rewriting the code. Let us change this name to add salary. And now I want to call add salary to see everything is successfully executed or not. So how we call add salary? By creating object of banking class, right? Whichever method you are calling, if it is inside calculator class, you need to create an object of calculator class. If the method is inside banking class, you need to create an object of the banking class. So how to create the object? Same process. Banking b equal to new banking, and then say b dot add salary. And if you run this, you're gonna see same functionality from calculator project is successfully executed over here without rewriting the code that was written inside the addition method with the help of this jar file. So if I talk about this jar file, this is what an API is to the American Express project. And if we are talking about Selenium, Selenium is one of the same things. Selenium is available in a form of a single jar file or multiple collection of jar files. You can implement Selenium in this project as well. What you need to do, just go to the Selenium website, selenium.dev, go to download. See the latest version 4.3.0. Just click on it and you get one single jar file. See, this is just a jar file. Let us see in the folder. Just 20 MB jar file, 23.5 MB jar file. That is what Selenium is. Now you can use this jar file. You can automate any website in the world. How are you going to use it? Let me move it to some other location. Let's say I just paste it here. Just move this. And I'll go to my Eclipse. Just a moment. Go to Eclipse, right click on your project, go to build path, click on add external archives, select the Selenium jar, open it. That's it. We have successfully configured Selenium. Just the prerequisite is JDK, Eclipse, and the jar file. Now we can automate any website in the world easily. So let's see how we're gonna automate it. So we have banking class, we have calculator class. Now we have Selenium jar. So in Selenium jar as well, there must be some class. So there is a class called as Chrome driver. In case you want to work on Chrome browser, you need to create an object of this class. That's it. Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver. That's it. See, no errors. One additional step we need to do, and don't worry about that step right now, why that is required. There is some exe file that you need to copy and paste it to the root of your project. Some people must be knowing why we need it. If you don't know, we'll be talking about this thing in our tomorrow session. So don't worry about it. What I added over here, just look at the code. That's it. We created an object of Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver. Now, if I click on run, let's see what happens. See, a browser launches. Just by creating an object of Chrome driver class, a browser launched. So where the code is written for launching the browser? Can anyone tell me where the code is written?
API.
In the API? Where inside the API?
Under Chrome driver class.
Chrome driver class.
Chrome driver class in the jar file in Chrome driver class. Correct. Where inside the Chrome driver class?
Chrome driver constructor.
In the constructor. Correct. Not inside any method because we have not called any method. See, even if I don't write this thing, if I just create an object, very first thing that is called is a constructor. So the developer who has created this class has written a code. Maybe he has written a 500 lines of code to launch a browser, but we don't need that code. I mean, there is no need of to look at that code, what code is written to launching a browser, because we are not developing Selenium. Selenium is already developed. A class is already there. As an end user, we want to use it for automation. So we just need to call that class. And as soon as you create an object of a class, the very first thing that happens is launching of browser. And after this, you want to navigate to a website. For that, you need to call a method. And how to call a method? Just create a reference, Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver. And then when you do driver dot, you're going to get list of all the methods inside this class. So one of the method we'll be calling is driver dot get. See, it is asking you to provide a URL in a string format. String means double quotes. And here you'll be providing the URL as http google.com. Just save this, run this, and you're going to see it navigates to google.com. See, any record in place required? It is not required. The code is very simple. You want to get the title of this page. Very first test case is to get the title, to validate the title. Title is Google, but how to get it in Eclipse? Just call a method, driver.getTitle. For everything, you will see a method. Just keep on calling the methods one by one and automate the entire website. No need to do any record and play. So if you do driver.getTitle, it will give you the title, but it is not going to print the title because printing task is not of Selenium. Printing task is of core Java. So how to print in core Java? We do system.out.println. And if I put this thing inside system.out.println, so whatever title that this method is giving us, it is going to print it in the console. So let's see. See, title printed, Google, right? Okay. So yeah, Tariq, this thing is not going to work right now because see, the exception that you have pasted it in the chat box, you can see it is saying the path to the driver executable. So that is what an additional step that I did is I added this Chrome driver exe. So what is this? We'll be discussing about this in more detail in our tomorrow's session. So where to get it, why we need it. Without this, even if I remove it, I'm going to get the same exception that you got.
Okay.
If I remove this, okay, right now this is in use. Let me close it and I need to terminate it from the task manager as well. So I'll go over here. There must be some session for Chrome driver. So I need to end this from here. Then I'll be able to delete it. So let me delete this. And if I delete it, and now if I run it, I'll get the same exception that you got. See, immediately I got this exception, the path to the driver executable. And now what is this? Why this is required? For this, we'll be understanding the Selenium architecture, how Selenium is actually working and communicating with your browser. Right? So for that purpose, you need this exe file. So what is this and who provide this? We'll be discussing about this in more detail when we understand the architecture of Selenium in our tomorrow's session. So see, if I provide this, everything should work fine without any issues, right? So that is how you're going to get started with Selenium. We are not installing anything. This is just configuration part, and we need to add the jar file, access it, and then automate any website. Right? So that's what a small overview of what Selenium is and how you will be working with Selenium. And what all integrations that we are going to do, what all these things are that we have listed. Some people might not be knowing what Jenkins is, what POI is, what Log4j is. We're going to have a detailed discussion about these APIs in our tomorrow's session. Right? So only this level of coding is required. Right? Once you are familiar with basic Java concepts, you'll find this code very easy and you should be able to work on Selenium easily. So in our tomorrow session, we'll be configuring a couple of components, a couple of browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Edge. We're going to see test on all these. Then we'll be like understanding what Maven is, what Jenkins is. We'll be understanding the architecture of Selenium. So again, we'll not be doing any coding for tomorrow as well. Right.
Now just small thing I need to ask. So like I have installed Java in my system, and like when I was trying to do array list, I found that under my collections package, that array list class itself, it's completely blank. Then how to recover that? Is there any way like
what version of Java you are using?
It's 1.8 itself.
So why it is blank? I mean, it should
Don't
not.
have. Like
So
whenever
you can share your findings with me on the WhatsApp, and I'll gonna look at it and see why it is showing as blank for you. Normally, it should not show blank.
okay, fine.
Right? You can even mail it to me, guys. In case you have any queries, you can also mail it to me on trainer@way2automation.com. Right. We'll also be forming up a WhatsApp group for this batch. Monday, I'll be generating that WhatsApp group and I'm going to share it with you. So any questions, queries, you can post it in the WhatsApp group as well. Right. And like most of us will be joining in the WhatsApp group. So you'll not only find instructor, you'll find other people who are attending the course as well. So even you can make that in a WhatsApp group very interactive in case you want to share the current openings in the industry, your interview questions, resumes, you can post it. All the relevant stuff related to the training, you can post it. You can ask questions, queries, and if let's say I'm not available, if someone else knows the answer, you can even like help each other in your learning phase as well. Right. So this will again enhance your knowledge as well. The more you solve queries, the more you handle the real-time situations, it will help you in building up your strong base for automation. Right. So, okay. There are other questions. Let me take it one by one. I'm using Photon version. Yeah, Photon is very old. I would recommend you to at least use this 2021 06 version. So Photon is very old. Okay, can I uninstall and install older version? No, if latest one is working fine, don't need to uninstall it. Duration of the course and what content will be covered. So duration of the course is somewhere around 3.5 months. In content, we are going to cover complete core Java. We'll be covering Selenium from basics till advanced level, all major framework designing, TestNG, Maven, Jenkins. Even we are going to cover Dockers. We are going to do integration with AWS. We'll be working on 2 live projects over here. Addition to this, you're also going to get access to this complete video library where there is a specific course I've designed, which is called as Automation Architect Selenium 7 Live project. Let me show it to you. So you'll be getting access to all these courses. So this one is 7 live projects. So if you go through these 7 live projects, then you will be very much expert in the framework designing part. So these are very detailed lectures on different frameworks, page objects, data driven, page factories, Cucumber integration with page objects. So many frameworks over here you're going to find. If you go through this, you'll be very much expert in the framework designing part as well. So 2 live projects will be covering in the live sessions as well, right? Now, along with this,
which 2 we will be going to cover in the live session?
We'll be covering, first is the data plus the keyword driven. So one is the hybrid framework we are going to cover. The second one we are going to cover is page objects plus page fact. So these are the frameworks that we are going to build from scratch. It's not like I'll be picking up a framework of my company and gonna explain it to you. I'll be designing the complete framework from scratch till the end point, so that you should be able to get good hands-on the framework designing part as well. And these are some of the things that you can put it in your resume, and like after this training, you'll be capable enough that you should be able to justify your 2-3 years of experience in Selenium automation easily. I'll be giving you so many assignments. Don't worry about it. Live websites will be there for automation. We'll be using many live websites. So you should be able to get the real-time exposure on these websites.
Can we have Cucumber BDD as well?
See, Cucumber BDD we can cover, but like just to keep the duration in mind, we can only cover 2 frameworks. Cucumber, I've not added it in this live session because as you may be knowing that when you are enrolling for this course, you get the lifetime membership. So lifetime membership to attend all other courses as well, not just Selenium with Java. You can attend Selenium with Python batch. This is also going to start in another 2 weeks. We are also running a batch of Selenium C# in the morning. You can attend that batch as well. Parallel, if in case you want to attend. You can also attend our ongoing batch of API testing, which is using REST Assured. And in REST Assured, we are going to cover live project using Cucumber BDD. So Cucumber BDD, the framework remains same for UI automation, that is Selenium, and it remains same for API automation, that is using REST Assured. So
Yes.
Cucumber part we are already covering in API. So that is the reason 2 frameworks we are covering here, and 1 Cucumber BDD, you're going to learn it in the API. So API batch is currently running at 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. IST. So just before our Selenium batch, you can attend this batch as well in parallel, and you can learn the Cucumber part from there. In any case, in any ways you want to learn this with Selenium as well. So I've already covered this in the automation architect part. So you can even go through this and can implement. These are all my videos only. I've created them. So you'll get my training itself in this as well. So you can follow this Cucumber basics, and then you should be able to learn Cucumber part and then design the framework, integrating with WebDriver and completing the designing the complete framework from scratch using Cucumber as well. Right?
Hi, Rahul. About API automation, when this batch have started?
See, this batch, I guess we are done with 7-8 sessions already. So manual part is already over, like Postman is already over. Now we have started with REST Assured in this. So REST Assured and the framework designing part, that is what it is going inside this batch. So once this batch ends, then the new batch of API testing will start.
Okay, so probably after 1.5 months or so.
Yeah, probably after 1 month or so, we'll be starting another batch of API testing.
Okay.
So you can attend all the batches, all future batches as well.
I have just a question which might not be relevant. Just a query. So the batches timings of courses are common across. If I want to join the Java or Selenium batch, so it will be the same timing, or it will be a
Okay, let me tell you what are most common timings. For Selenium Java, it will be always 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. Saturday and Sunday IST time. Then Selenium C# will mostly be 8 a.m. in the morning, 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. IST again. Then we talk about API testing. API testing is at 6 p.m. And there is a clash with the timings for the DevOps batch. So DevOps is also running at 6 p.m. So in case you want to attend multiple courses in parallel, you can either attend Selenium Java API testing in parallel. You can do this as well. But again, it depends how much you are able to digest in a day, right? So normally I would not recommend you to attend more than 2 courses in a day, but it's your choice. If in case you want to attend 3 as well, you can do that thing. We're also running, we recently started a batch of Cypress as well, and that is started at 9:30 a.m. IST. So in case you want, you can attend this one as well. So these are the current timings for the ongoing batches. And then Selenium Python, we are planning to start at 10 a.m. IST. So that is how, these are the ongoing batches. And the best part is you can attend all the trainings you want.
Do we have any APM batches as well?
APM is also running. That is running at 8 a.m. in the morning.
No,
yeah, it's good to attend API after Selenium only. But first build up your base for automation and then go for API testing.
Yes, I totally agree with you, because I am not in a hurry to join multiple batches at that time.
Yeah. In any case, if you miss to attend any session, for all these trainings, we are doing live recordings as well. So all these recordings will be hosted on the same platform here. So you can find the API course, you can find, if you go to your Like once you get access to all this, so you can find the Selenium recordings from here. You can find Selenium Python from here, DevOps from here, web services from here. So all the live batches, let's say if you go over here, the current batch, this is running at the moment. So currently done with 8-9 sessions over here. Started with C rest assured itself. So you can follow this particular batch as well. So during the weekdays, you can go through the API part as well. But to work on API automation, you should be good in Java first. So first core Java, then learn Selenium, and parallel you can do API. Because for API, the prerequisite is you should be good in the Java part.
Rahul, I have two questions here. One is like, will we get any kind of certification after the completion of course?
See, course completion certificate will be provided after each course.
Okay, and second thing is, will we get any homework thing for weekdays to practice?
You'll get so many assignments.
Okay.
So don't worry about assignments. You'll get tons of assignments during those Selenium live sessions.
Okay, it's nice to hear.
Sure. Core Java class will start from next weekend at same time, 8 p.m. People who have already completed Java will be attending the Selenium classes at the same time. So Core Java is taken by a different instructor. So he is like one of the best instructor in Core Java. He has already taken many batches over here for Java. So you are getting a dedicated training on Core Java, and then whatever concepts you're learning in Core Java will be revising the same concepts with Selenium. I'll be taking all your Selenium classes, framework designing, all these things I'll be taking. What is the course fee? So there is no specific fee for any particular course. So this is one of the best thing that we are running called as lifetime membership. You can just, this is a very, very unique concept. You'll not see anywhere else in the industry. You just need to enroll one time by paying $149 USD or 10,000. And then you're going to become a lifetime member at Way to Automation. You can attend all the courses that we are conducting with different instructors taking different batches. You can join all these batches for free for lifetime. Even after 1 year, if you introduce a new course, we keep on adding new courses like Cypress we recently started. So you need not to pay anything to attend any training. So this is like one of the best thing. And all these courses are available in video library as well. You'll get complete access to this. This is like 30 plus courses are already here. And very soon I'll be adding more courses related to Playwright. So you're gonna get access to all those courses as well.
So Rahul, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
In the Java, core Java, there were only 10 classes. However, in the course that you have shown today, that there are 29 classes.
Okay, so that was dedicated to core Java training. So there are two things. One is specific to Selenium. See, core Java is quite huge. Even if we conduct training on complete Java, it may gonna take 3 months just to cover the core Java part only, right?
Okay.
So whatever that is required for Selenium will be building up a base for those topics. So up till collections, we are going to cover in the live sessions. So 10 sessions for that and somewhere around 14 sessions for Selenium. So it is going to take at least, you can see 3.5 months it is going to take for this. So if we extend core Java more than it, this batch will never gonna end. So 5 months is like a huge amount. So once your base is built up, once your core Java concepts base is built up, then you should be able to understand other topics easily by Googling around and following YouTube lectures. You should be able to build up those things easily. Because when you're in this automation industry, you need to do a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of you need to go through the articles, go through the blogs, go through the YouTube content, right? So you should not be stick to just what that we are covering over here, because down the line, you will be practically involved in learning so many automation related tools, so many automation related integrations that we are going to do. So it's a never ending learning process, you can say.
Okay. So after completing those 10 classes, we should focus on the free course of core Java so as to enhance our knowledge.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Rahul.
Sure.
And the Selenium part is more than sufficient. The
Selenium part is more than sufficient to automate any website.
Okay.
Right. And then again, there is no end of learning in Selenium as well. Like I've shown you my automation architect course. There's a course specifically I've designed for this Selenium 4.0, which covers all major like components on Selenium 4, which we are going to study in the live sessions as well. Plus many additional topics you'll find here as well. Not only this, there's one big course on Selenium, which is like more than 100 hours of recordings. You'll find various topics of Selenium you're going to find over here as well. So this is something additional that you can follow after the live sessions.
Okay. For
Right?
clearing the interview,
Whatever that I come across around Selenium, I keep on adding videos for those things over here. So you'll find most of the things handling graphs, shadow DOM elements, Seculi, API integration, like n number of things which we can integrate with Selenium. You're going to find over here. LU reporting, extend reports, so many things are there.
Okay. Thank you, Rahul. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Rahul, just a quick question. Do we cover any examples related to the player automation, such OTT platform automations?
Player automation is not there, to be honest. But like if there is any integration that can be done through Selenium, I can try looking at it and I can let you know about that thing.
Because my current project is running and we have music players, so I would be looking your help in case I encounter issues.
Sure, sure. I mean, if there is any integration feasible with Selenium, then I can take a look at it and I'll suggest you something on that.
Thanks.
Okay, Samita is saying, like restarting my career after 10 years, what else I need to learn? See, to get started with, first thing is you need to follow Selenium. If you know Selenium, all these integrations you can do. Because see, database integration will be doing it with Selenium, will be doing some database, will be firing queries using Java code. All these things will be done. So database can be easily handled. APM is a wrapper over your Selenium WebDriver. Whatever that we are doing in Selenium, the code that I've written, same sort of code is written in APM as well. So you can integrate APM mobile automation stuff, iOS, Android completely if you know Selenium. API is again rest assured. What is rest assured? It is just a jar file. Like the way we have added Selenium jar, in case you want to automate your APIs, you can add a rest assured jar as well over here. So you can see with Selenium integration, you can integrate mobile, you can integrate API, you can integrate database. And APM guys, they have created a wrapper of something which is called as Win App Driver. This is another jar file. And same thing that we do driver.find element in Selenium, you do same thing for desktop using WinApp driver. You can launch a notepad and you can automate a notepad as well using this. So you can see if you know Selenium, you can integrate all these components. But if you know QTP, you must be knowing that QTP runs only and only on Windows. UFT runs only and only on Windows. And if the client requirement is to test things on Linux, Mac, other operating system, then you cannot do with QTP. With Selenium, we have seen QTP. This is because QTP supports only one language, that is VB script, and it runs only and only on Windows. Whereas if we talk about Selenium, we just discussed Selenium supports all these languages. If we specifically talk about Java, when you install Java, the very first message you're going to see 3 billion devices runs on Java. So be it Linux, Mac, iOS, Android, any operating system you name is supported by Java. So if you're running your Selenium code in Java, you can execute that code in any operating system you want. So that is one of the best things. Right? So if we join core Java classes from next week, when will Selenium class will start? Immediately after your core Java sessions, your Selenium session will start. Right? Like the people who have already completed Java, now they are going to start with the Selenium session, and people who are joining new will be starting with the Java session. So once Java ends, Selenium will start. Right?
Hi, Rahul.
Yeah.
So, for example, today I have joined Selenium class, and from next weekend onwards, it will be a core Java class. So, I won't be able to continue with Selenium, right? First, I have to complete core Java class for 1 month or so, and then only I'll be able to attend.
If you know Java, if you're very much confident in Java, then you can skip the Java part and start with the Selenium sessions. But if you don't know Java, I would recommend first start with Java, build a strong base around programming, and then only learn Selenium, because Selenium is nothing, it's just programming part only. There is no record in plain Selenium.
Okay, so most probably the next Selenium class I will be able to attend once I'll complete core Java class, right?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. All right, guys. So any more questions?
Rahul,
Yep.
just wanted to ask, like, from next week we have core Java session for those who are joining new, and that duration will be how much?
Somewhere around 10 sessions, the same 2 hours, 1.5, 2 hours each day, Saturday, Sunday, and around 5 weeks it is going to take.
Okay, and the Selenium part you are going to cover in these sessions will be covered up again?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Once you are done with Java, we'll be again repeating these 2 sessions that we are doing today and tomorrow.
Okay, we have to sit like we have to use another invite you are sending.
Yeah, you'll
us
be
for
getting the fresh meeting invite for core Java.
Okay,
I'll be sending all those things, WhatsApp group, meeting invites next week to your mail ID. You can receive it.
Okay, like the WhatsApp group will be same for this batch, like this Selenium 4.0 version, right?
Yes, yes. The current one, in case you have access to the WhatsApp group, will gonna be for Selenium. For the core Java, a new WhatsApp group will be generated. And even for Selenium, the new meeting invites will be generated from next week. So I'll send you all this information on your mail ID.
Fine, thank you. Thank you.
Sure. All right, guys. So I guess you guys have enjoyed today's session and have not got bored.
Yes, excellent.
Sure. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. We're going to meet tomorrow, same time and same meeting link. So thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.